Hello there and a warm welcome to Superscreen News at 10, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adinke Uweye Ajiboye. President Muhammadu Buhari has met behind closed doors with chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu in London. The president's personal assistant on social media, Bashir Ahmed, made this known on his Twitter handle in Abuja. You will recall that President Buhari on April 9, 2018, during the National Executive Committee NEC meeting of the All Progressives Congress, declared his intention to seek re-election in 2019. While in Britain, the president is billed to hold discussions on Algeria or British relations with Prime Minister Theresa May prior to the Commonwealth heads of government meetings scheduled for April 18 to 20. A presidential spokesman, Garba Shehu, disclosed that the president will also meet the chief executive officer of Royal Dutch PLC, Ben Burden, in connection with Shell and other partners' plan to invest $15 billion in Algeria's oil industry. And our Senate President Bukola Saraki has reiterated his support for local government autonomy in the country. Saraki could disclose this in Abuja during a visit by the National Union of Local Government Employees. Said the Senate will continue to work towards the realization of autonomous governance and the third tier of government.
It's an effort that we all have a role to play to see that how do we go about in seeing that the local government has been strengthened. Because in some local governments too, as much as we say that, we know that there are local governments, particularly in the area of support to primary school teachers, that if you even leave the local governments alone as they are, in some of these local governments too, they will not be able to function. So I think it's important to see how we ensure local governments are independent, local governments that have autonomy, that the governors cannot interfere with what is due to local government. But there has to still be a kind of cordial symbolic relationship. To just say that they should stay on their own, I think there are also disadvantages at that. And also at the same time too, there might be ways for which for us to look at how do we ensure that the local governments have adequate funding without interference that will make them be strong. And I think that is what we need to look at.
National President of the Union, Ibrahim Khalid, lamented the poor treatment from local government administrations in the country and called for a change in status quo.
Local government is essentially created to bridge gap in governance and democracy. And the truth of the matter is that today our local governments are completely rendered impotent. If you visit any local government council, with the exception of few who are in the cities, certainly you will not notice any presence of governance or any serious business of government taking place there. And this is not far from the huge interference and undue influence this tier of government has been suffering for a very long period of time.
Moving away from that, the All Progressives Congress, APC, has constituted a 68-member National Convention Committee. The list of the committee members was released by the party's National Secretariat in Abuja on Sunday. The list indicated that the governor of Jigawa State, Abubakar Badaru, will chair the committee, while the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, will be his deputy. Senator Ben Uwajomogo was named as member secretary. Also listed as members of the committee are 10 state governors: Rochas Okorocha, Kashim Shatima, Aminu Masari, Abiola Ajimobi, Ibrahim Gaidam, Yahaya Bello, and Godwin Obaseki. Federal lawmakers elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress (APC) are angry with the leadership of the Senate over its decision to disband a pro-Buhari group as part of conditions for suspending Senator Ovie Omo-Agege. The APC lawmakers believe that the Senate leadership headed by an APC party member is being unnecessarily harsh on fellow party members who make up the pro-Buhari group, especially in the crucial months leading to the 2019 elections. The lawmakers met to review recent events in the red chambers of the National Assembly and could not understand why the Senate leadership seems to be targeting APC members for sanctions. They reportedly questioned why Senate President Bukola Saraki allowed the suspension of Omo-Agege of the APC to go through despite the intervention of the party's leadership and other prominent chieftains in the matter. The legislators have resolved to approach the national leadership of the APC once again to urgently intervene in the matter while they await the return of President Muhammadu Buhari from his trip. Now, Senate President Bukola Saraki has called for united efforts by government, security agencies, religious and community leaders to rescue the remaining 112 Chibok schoolgirls and the last Dapchi girl, Lee Sharibu, from Boko Haram's captivity. Saraki, who disclosed this in a statement by his special advisor, media and publicity, Yusuf Olaniyonu in Abuja, said even though 4 years had elapsed since the Chibok girls were kidnapped, it must not dampen efforts being made to rescue them and reunite them with their families and loved ones. The Senate President also called on the parents to remain steadfast as government would never relent in its efforts to get their daughters back home safely. You will recall that President Muhammadu Buhari has also reiterated his commitment to ensure the release of all the kidnapped girls. Senator representing Anambra Central, Victor Ume, says Nigerians should not depend on former President Olusegun Obasanjo before selecting or electing a candidate to vote for in 2019. The lawmaker, who disclosed this to journalists in Abuja, said the former president does not have the right to dictate who becomes the next president, as he did not lead by example when he was president of the country. Ume said the former president's third-term agenda brought so many ills to the country, and he urged Nigerians to disregard his comments.
Those of us who served this country in political party leadership when Obasanjo was president, I was very critical of Obasanjo's presidency. I was, because there were too many things he did I, as a person, did not agree with. I didn't see him as somebody who worked to enthrone democracy in Nigeria. Rather, he sabotaged democracy. Under his watch, Nigeria didn't make any progress in having a decent democracy in terms of allowing people to vote for people of their choice, and then those votes are respected. Electoral banditry was of the highest proportion under Obasanjo's presidency. So if we are rating his stewardship, you can see that he failed in so many areas, and he also helped to institutionalize electoral corruption in Nigeria. That is the greatest disservice he did to this nation. We're very critical of that, knowing that when people elect somebody they want, then you change it and put in somebody who did not even take part in the election and force the person on the people. Is it not worse than economic corruption? Electoral corruption is worse than economic corruption, because through electoral corruption we bring bad leaders into governance, and when they get in, they don't think about the ordinary people. You know, anything goes. So his era was an era of anything went. So in 2019, I will advocate for the Nigerian people to use their votes to decide what they want.
Well, Senator representing Anambra Central, Victor Ume, urged Nigerians not to heed the advice of former President Obasanjo. And now, meanwhile, former President Olusegun Obasanjo and a former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Olufalaye, will on Tuesday meet at Obasanjo's Abeokuta residence with an agenda to unseating President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019. Falaye, who is the chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, and Obasanjo would strategize on how to bring all third force elements under one banner. A source who is privy to the meeting said since President Buhari had ignored all warnings by Obasanjo and other former generals not to seek a second term for the sake of the country, many of such political meetings would be taking place. The personal assistant to Olufalaye, Moshood Raji, confirmed the scheduled meeting with Obasanjo. And away from politics, the Federal High Court in Abuja has granted an Abuja-based non-governmental organization, Kingdom Human Rights Foundation, the leave to commence a suit seeking the approval, the removal, of the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Danladi Umar. The group had, through its lawyer on February 16, 2018, filed an ex parte application seeking the court's permission to commence the suit following the bribery charges filed against the CCT chairman by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The Code of Conduct Tribunal, Danladi Umar, President Buhari, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the National Assembly were joined in the suit as the first to the fifth respondents, respectively. Justice Bintan Yako, after granting leave to the group to commence the suit, fixed May 21 for mention. Into security matters, Nigeria Army 6th Division, Port Harcourt, has concluded the inter-brigade corporal and below competition hosted by the 6th Division Garrison. The competition, which is aimed at equipping with knowledge soldiers in the discharge of their duties, was concluded in Rivers State over the weekend. College Provost and Director of Studies Joseph Akpan said the competition has improved competence and efficiency of the officers.
We just witnessed by troops from various formations and units a show of strength, tactics, and team spirit, which are the fundamentals of any armed forces around the world. It has also shown the combat readiness and proficiency of the Nigerian Army at large and the troops of 6th Division Nigerian Army in particular. Also, I would like to use the privilege to enjoin the junior non-commissioned officers to keep the flag flying high as always, and apply the prowess exhibited here today to their everyday life. Let me add that it's not only enough to be strong, you must be of good attitude.
The importance of the competition in the development of Nigerian Army officers.
I want to assure you that this is part and parcel of our training exercises for the year. It is in our training directive for the second quarter, and we have subsequent competitions that are coming. You have seen why you need to train, why you need to prepare. Like the MC said earlier on, for everything we do here is geared towards performance of our soldiers in the field. If you are doing obstacle crossing, it is not just for nothing that I want you to come and do obstacle crossing and we watch and laugh. No. We are preparing you for future tasks. And what is the future task of a soldier? To defend the territorial integrity of Nigeria.
Very interesting. I can see exceptional display of professionalism. They are very strong. Watching this, you want to join them. Of course, you can't get enough attention, so you always want attention. So yes, they deserve much more attention, but they are doing very well. There's no doubt about it.
Moving on the news. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has declared a ban on grazing in some communities affected by a suspected herdsman attack. The governor's order came 48 hours after residents of Odigi community protested at the government house against the killing of a pastor by suspected herdsmen. The affected communities include Odigi and Odigwete in the Ovia northeast local government area of the state. Obaseki also ordered the arrest of any erring herdsman during the period of the ban, which is said would last for 90 days to enable government identify those lawfully allowed to graze in the areas so as to prevent further attacks. Reports say one police officer has been killed and 11 others missing after gunmen opened fire on them in Benue State. The slain officer was riding with his colleague from Anyibe to Ayilamo, both in Logo local government area, when gunmen allegedly attacked them. Some officers who responded to the attack tried to go after the killers, only to run into a waiting ambush. 11 officers have been declared missing. A senior police officer at the area command headquarters in Katsina, Ala, told reporters that the command had received the news. If you've just joined us, you're watching Superscreen News at 10. We'll take a short break here, and when we return, we'll bring you business news. Just stay. Well, many thanks for staying back. Now, in business world, shareholders of Oando PLC have asked President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately sack the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, over her interference in the nation's capital markets. The National President of Trusted Shareholders Association of Nigeria, Mokta, said the National Coordinator, Proactive Shareholders Association, Taiwo Oderide, and the Coordinator, Oando Shareholders Solidarity Group, in a joint statement, accused the Minister of trying to shield Oando from being probed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Oderide alleged that a forensic audit of Oando had been stalled due to interference by Adeosun to the detriment of Oando shareholders and the entire Nigerian capital markets. The Methodist Church of Nigeria Metropolitan Diocese of Ikeja has called on Governor Akinwumi Ambode of Lagos State to consider a downward review of the new land use charge. The church made the appeal in a communique at the end of the second annual synod at Elliott Memorial Methodist Church in Iju, Lagos. According to the church, the state needed to reduce the land use charge because the increase will have a negative impact on the citizens. The church, however, congratulated Governor Akinwumi Ambode and his team on the giant strides being witnessed in the state, especially in infrastructural development. The church also urged the federal government to ensure the quick passage and implementation of the 2018 budget. And now the National Bureau of Statistics has revealed the Nigerian economy attracted a total investment inflow of $68.5 billion, equivalent of 20.89 trillion naira between 2013 and 2017. An analysis of the capital importation report made available to journalists showed that investment inflows came from three main sources, which are foreign direct investment, made up of equity and other capital, portfolio investment, comprising equity, bond, and money market instruments, and other investment made up of trade credits, loans, currency deposits, and other claims. A further analysis of the report indicated that Nigeria's foreign exchange policy and economic recession largely shaped our capital importation over 5 years. You're still watching Superscreen News at 10. We're taking another short break here, and when we return, we'll bring you news from the foreign scene and then sports, so join us again.